This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Can't complain. Nobody would want to hear it anyway.
Yeah, although I got complaints, bro. What the hell happened with Byron Jones? I mean, you were telling me he's going to be ready, Oh, well, he needs a couple more weeks, and now he's not ready after 4. And I know they're never going to tell us, but I almost feel like he had some kind of a setback, man. Sucks.
Well, Mike McDaniel said specifically he did not have a setback. But then
he said he was going to be ready too.
No, well, he said he was confident he was going to be ready, and the whole thing. I mean, everything about the situation is mysterious. Starting with the fact that he waited until March to have the surgery.
Yeah.
So the whole thing's bad. And sorry, but this defense not nearly as good without Byron Jones.
No, of course not, man. And this week, hopefully X has been in practice, right?
No,
not at all. Not even limited.
Not only that. DNP yesterday and today, but now he's on the injury report with groins, plural.
Okay, so that's terrible.
Whereas last week it was groin, singular. So, I'd say I'd be fairly pessimistic about him playing.
Yeah, no, as I told somebody, don't worry about X until Thursday. And if he's not practicing today, then he's probably not going to play on Sunday. And so they'll have to blitz the hell out of him. Out of Zach is what I'm saying. They're probably going to do that. A lot of that to not leave their guys on an island very long. All right, so we get to the Tua questions now. Obviously, what do we know about the investigation? Finally, anything yet?
Nothing other than they were hoping to wrap it up by the end of this week. I think you and I both know that it's going to come out that nobody did anything wrong, but the concussion protocol probably needs to be beefed up a little bit. And anytime anybody shows any wobbliness, for lack of a better word, regardless of the cause, they're going to be out for this game. I don't think anybody should expect anything other than that.
Right, but let's fire a guy or a woman who just followed the protocols that you have placed or set in place, and then let's fire them because we got to feed the lynch mob a little bit. I just found that to be a little sad to fire the doctor when you saw Cameron Brake get knocked out and come right back this weekend. T. Higgins was playing in that same Thursday night game with 2 dings, not one, but 2. Going into that, nobody says anything. I don't know if you saw the Joe Burrow cut. Did you see the Joe Burrow cut talking about that? Did you see Alex Smith also talking? Here's my problem with all of this now. We're getting on this soapbox. You got this doctor saying, oh, Tua should retire, And I love all these people, and I've talked about this several times before you've been on this week. So are you telling the fireman not to run into a blazing building? No? You're telling the FP&O guy not to work on power lines? You're telling the race car driver not to go around in circles at 220 miles an hour? Are you going to stop giving a 20-year-old a gun and say, go fight for us and keep our country free? You're going to tell a miner not to go back down into the mine and breathe all that shit for 20 years where he probably will shorten his life? People do things every day. A cop walks out the door and his wife or husband has no idea if he or she is going to come back by the end of the day. And so I love these people, and they think that these guys really, by now, they all know the risk they're taking, bro. And they're fine with it. So it's just one of these things that the part that pisses me off is that we are now trying to control what people love to do. And guess what? People do dangerous things for a living. Are you going to tell the entire Wallenda family not to walk a tightrope?
Not to be flying Wallendas.
Yeah, not to be flying Wallendas. Be grounded Wallendas. And we are not the Wallendas. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's just one of those things. I get it, man. It's a brutal game, but you're not playing it. So if Tua wants to play it or Joe Burrow or whatever, they know what they're getting into. So let's pump the brakes here on trying to fix the world when we've got hundreds of jobs that people are risking their lives every day, pretty much.
3 quick points, if I may. Number 1, I completely agree with you. And by now, by now every football player understands the long-term risks of playing football with the head injuries. And like you said, they're well compensated for a reason. And if they want to assume the risk, that's on them. That's number one. Number two, about the people who call for players to like retire and all that. It's amazing that I never hear that about boxing, UFC, MMA,
UFC.
where the sole object of the sport is to knock the shit out of the other guy. So it makes zero sense. And then the final point I want to make, and this pertains to everybody like hitting me up on the social media today about like, well, what, like, and you brought it up too. What about T. Higgins and why is Tua being made such an example? Well, because it was the video, bro. It was in prime time, and it was 4 days after he wobbled. So that's why the Tua situation, even though it may not be any more serious than what happened to T. Higgins or Joe Burrow.
Dude, it's Ray Rice all over again. It's just a different thing.
Optics.
But lots of men have hit women in football, but we never saw it. The day we saw it with Ray Rice, oh my God! And the video changes everything. You're 1,000% right.
Right. This is not a Tua issue. It's the fact it's a quarterback, number one, and it's in prime time. And 4 days after, there's video of him wobbling. So you.
By the way, do we not? You and I remember, and plenty of Dolphin fans, do we not remember Chris Chambers against the Denver Broncos?
Yes.
Okay.
Nasty hit over the middle.
It was the same. It was the same thing. He was concussed, and he was and if I remember correctly, there was like a hand that was like up in the air or something. Remember that?
No, I don't remember. I remember like the vicious.
Chad, do me a favor. Oh, Chad's not there now. But there's a video of it. I've got to find that video. But I remember that there was like he had something like it was his hand. That it was like the creepy thing of it all. Not only him lying there, but it was also the motion he was making or something with his hand, if I remember correctly. And the video evidence is what always, shakes us all, man. And that's why. And yeah, Tua is a lightning rod and all of that, but this is a problem that's all over the league. And all Tua did now, or that situation, was expose that your protocols really weren't that good in the first place.
And again, it was like a perfect storm of events that made it that brought all the attention on it.
Yeah. All right. What do you got to do this week if you're Mike McDaniel? The first test came when they were down by 21 against the Ravens. Here's the second test now. The first test, adversity, deficit. You come back on the road, amazing win. Now adversity hits. You got your backup quarterback in there. This is where, if you're known as an offensive genius, the genius has to come out, doesn't it?
Well, I've seen genius the first 4 weeks of the regular.
No, but I mean without the franchise guy. I'm talking about with the backup guy.
Here this is where we're gonna disagree. Probably is I'm of the opinion that and I need to preface this by saying Tyreek Hill popped up on the injury report today with a quad. He was limited. Assuming he's at full, he's good to go, and he's Tyreek Hill, and you have Jalen Waddle on the other side. The concept of what McDaniel has been doing, and also remember you're going to have Bridgewater taking the full week of practice as a starter, as opposed to coming in not having taken the full reps. I don't see any significant drop off whatsoever with the offense. I think this is an offense that I think Bridgewater can absolutely operate. We saw a lot of good things in that second half under trying circumstances, and that late in the game. Clear communication. The 60 never turned around until the ball was past him. So I think they'll be fine offensively. Again, if Hill's quad does not become an issue, doesn't keep him from playing or playing at 100%. My big concern with that game is on the other side of the ball with all the injuries, because we mentioned X. You haven't mentioned Keon Crossan, who hasn't practiced.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah.
Didn't practice yesterday, didn't practice today.
And that's bad. Once you get to Thursday, I'm really concerned once you get to Thursday.
No, correct. So now we're down. Now we're down to Kader Kahu, Elijah Campbell, perhaps. Noah Benogany. Is he finally going to get playing time on defense?
Oh, he has to this week. He has to.
Choice. Eric Rowe moving over from safety. I mean, they're numbers. So we talked about blitzing. And, yeah, that's great, but they better get to Zach Wilson in a hurry, because otherwise the Jets with Elijah Moore Corey Davis and Garrett Wilson can do some damage with that passing game.
Yeah. The only thing I disagree with you on, I get what you're saying about Teddy because he's a good game manager, but the deep ball game will not be the same with him and Tua. Completely different.
4-yard completion to Tyreek Hill last week?
That was like a pop-up ball that he threw. What I'm saying is the consistency. What I'm saying is the consistency that you saw with Tua deep, which, by the way, freaked everybody else out because nobody even thought he was going to throw that many deep balls. But he actually threw a bunch of deep balls. You will not see that with Teddy. You might see one like he threw up for grabs, and that was a great play by Tyreek. But the deep shots that you saw with Tua on a consistent basis, that will not be with Teddy. That's just my guess. That's just me. I think there's going to be a lot of short passing here. A lot of even the backs are going to get some stuff out in the flats. I think he's going to try to get quick strikes to these guys and get them out there trying to make some plays in open space. I don't think you're going to get a lot on the second half of the defense. That's what I think.
If it's there, I think Teddy's perfectly capable of getting it out there. I don't have that much of a concern, to be very honest with you, with the offense.
All right. When we look at the running game, that would be beautiful for it to work this week. I mean, Alain, there aren't a lot of big injuries on the offensive line. You got some injuries everywhere else. This is kind of a time where you'd like for the Hogs to kind of do their job up front.
Well, Armstead's still not practicing. I mean, he's playing.
No, but he's playing. But he's playing.
Here's the thing. I have a very, 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 and I understand the running game statistically is very, very poor. I have a very hard time getting worked up over it when the Dolphins are 10th in the NFL in total offense and top 3.
I get it.
Passing. So to me, it's more like, okay, if you have a 3rd and 1, get the 3rd and 1. But if they're rushing for 60 yards a game and they're passing for 300, I'm okay with it. I mean, you know
what is happening, right?
What's
the happening is the disconnect that you and I have. You're not as concerned with Teddy. I'm a little bit more concerned with Teddy. So I think Teddy needs the running game more than Tua would even need it, because I also think Teddy will not be able to hit the deep shots that Tua has been hitting on a consistent basis. So that's why I talk about it, and that's why you're not as worried about it, because overall it's a very productive offense. So it's not like it's a bad offense. It's a good offense even without the running game. Although I will say this, Alain, maybe you might agree or disagree with me. It looks like they're starting to pop more and more runs. So not a consistent running game, but it seems like every game they're starting to pop more and more runs. So it looks like they're kind of figuring it out a little bit, a little bit.
No, I agree. And absolutely. I tweeted that during the game on Thursday night. I was loving the way Mostert was running. I mean, he looks like he was skating through holes over there. I mean, it was the first time all season where I noticed a big difference between the two backs. I always thought like him and Chase Edmonds were kind of like 1A, 1B. Mm-hmm. That night to me, Raheem Mostert looked clearly better than anything we had seen from either of those two up to that point. And it makes me very confident and very hopeful that it could pop at some point and then he could be in for a good game.
I don't think the Jets are a very good team overall, but what is the biggest concern you have that the Jets could give the Dolphins problems on Sunday?
No, it's like I mentioned. I think the Jets offense worries me. They've had injury issues at tackle, but Dwayne Brown is practicing this week. There's a possibility he might play, which allows them to move Vera Tucker back to guard after he played left tackle against Pittsburgh on Sunday. The interior of their offensive line is good. I think Zach Wilson's got a fabulous arm. He's inconsistent with his passing, but that wide receiver trio is worrisome to me. And again, it's not like the Dolphins have been great in pass defense to begin with.
Yeah, no, even X hasn't been great.
No, correct. So that concerns me with them. And they haven't been good. You look at their games. I mean, they have 2 comeback wins and then 2 games where they kind of were manhandled. I happen to think the Jets are massively in the upswing, and I said even before the season started that team was going to be a problem this year, as opposed to how the Dolphins manhandled them the last several years. And if we look at last year, Dolphins beat them by 7 both times. and the Jets are significantly better in my book because they just keep adding young talent. I mean, they had 3 first-round picks this year, and they keep hitting on those guys. Wilson, Jermaine Johnson, and Sauce Gardner. On top of that, their second-round pick, Brees Hall, looks like a keeper at running back. And you add that to the young talent they had. Won't be very long, I think, before that team's a problem. And I don't think it's going to be an easy game on Sunday for sure.
Are you a Zach Wilson believer, by the way?
Too early to tell. He's got a lot to work with. I mean, I love his arm. He's got a really,
He's definitely got athleticism and an arm. I just haven't seen a quarterback yet. That's my only thing with him.
Well, the only thing is he gets loose with his decisions every once in a while. So, yeah, there's definitely something there, and it would not surprise me. I'm still on the fence with him, but I think there's something there. It wouldn't surprise me if he became really good.
Do you agree with me that Tom Garfinkel should hire a group of MILFs to act like the replacement cheerleaders on the sidelines to kind of keep Zach a little busy? Is that a good idea?
Anything to help, right?
Okay, I'm just saying. I mean, the kid has certain interests.
Yes, he does.
And so I figured we, help him out. And you never know. I mean, and you got to admit that the replacement cheerleaders are probably the greatest cheerleaders of all time, right? I mean, those are the best cheers ever, right? Are there any better cheers than ever?
I haven't noticed. Sorry.
You never saw the movie The Replacements?
I haven't. I know. You know what? Never did.
You have never seen Shane Falco do his thing.
I have never seen The Replacements.
Oh my God. He's
You're ashamed of me, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Sorry.
Gene Hackman.
Oh, I know. I'm aware of the movie.
Keanu Reeves. Are you serious?
Aware of the movie. That's one. That might be the only football movie I haven't seen. I've seen.
Oh, dude, you have to. You should watch it tonight, bro. You should just chill out and have a fun ass 90 minutes of laughing and having a great time, dude. And then when you see the cheerleaders, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Because they're funny.
But I'll make it a point to watch it.
The cheerleaders are funny. Yeah, man. And the Australian kicker, I mean, that guy alone makes the movie. You got to see The Replacements, dude.
Okay, we'll do.
It's a must. All right, so what do you got going on alldolphins.com since you've disappointed us by not seeing The Replacements?
I already got 4 things on the site today, and I forgot what they are because there's. I did 4? Something.
Only 4?
No. I've got 83 more for tag. I got a quote of 87. Got something on Skylar Thompson. I had the injury report with Tyreek popping up on there. We're going to do something on. Completely. I don't know if you caught wind of the John Embry media session today, the tight ends coach, where he was talking about.
Oh no, I have not. What did he say?
Oh my Lord, they were talking about playing time, how it's split up, and basically his whole point was we want to be a run first team, and Durham Smite's a blocker, and Mike isn't, so that's why. And I couldn't help but think, yeah, well that's great, but why in the triple hell did you franchise tag the guy for $10.9 million? 10.9 million. You're just discovering now that this notion.
Well, they wanted to try it. They wanted to try the experiment, and I've said this from the get-go. You hang on to him because maybe you might trade him by the deadline that somebody needs a tight end, and maybe you get a higher pick in that trade than you would in the compensatory side of it. So
I agree.
That's the only reason.
I agree with you that I cannot help but think that that's why they hung on to him, is they figured somebody would come calling with a good offer at some point. That obviously hasn't happened yet, and it's possible it might not happen. It doesn't help. Dude's got 10 targets in 4 games.
No, I know.
I mean, pretty expensive for a guy who's basically doing little.
Yeah, but they had tons of cap space, and they're just maybe hoping to get some. And they had 2 owners that already took a first and a third from them, so maybe they got to find a way to get it back. Yeah. So maybe Gesicki might be a way of getting it back. All right, follow him on Twitter at Poupart NFL and catch all of his work there at Sports Illustrated, alldolphins.com, and bombard his ass with replacement videos and all kinds of stuff on social media. Show this man why he should watch The Replacements at Poupart NFL. All right? Alan, we love you, brother. We'll see you later.
Have a good weekend.
You got it. There you go, baby. Alan Poupart getting it done for us. As always, love it, man. Love it. How has he not watched the replacements? I think that's illegal, right? You can't like football and not watch the replacements.